Hello, hello. It is your girl, T. Michelle, the travel sister. And we are back here today. I'm with my girl, Deanna, the traveling frugalista. And we got an interesting topic today. So I saw this video a couple of days ago regarding Buju Banton talking about Afrobeats. So you know what? I'm going to just let him say what he got to say. I'm not going to even tell you.
So let me ask you, because I've been watching and watching and watching. You said something that was very interesting. You said Afrobeats gives props back to reggae, to dancehall.
Do they?
I thought I heard you say that.
I don't think they do. No, I never said that. I said they don't give fucking props back to dancehall and reggae.
Oh, my bad. I heard it wrong.
Now you're really dyslexic.
Yeah. My bad. I thought I heard it the other way around. But then I heard you say, because I heard you say Afrobeats. I thought I heard you say that. The Afrobeats, like, pay homage.
The greatest musician out of Africa was Fela Kuti.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fela Kuti. Mm-hmm. Lucky Dube from South Africa. We had Salif Keita. We have Youssou N'Dour. We have Baba Mal. Now, no one wanted to go beyond the pale of what those brothers was doing. I went to Africa in 1991 and I spent like 3 weeks constantly at the universities under baobab trees.
In Kenya?
Educating people from Ghana, all over the continent about reggae music and dancehall. But I was happy when they came to their senses to realize that music is the bridge that's going to connect us. But what I was disappointed in, they didn't try to connect with Jamaica the Roots. They connect with everyone else except us.
And you talking about Afrobeats?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
So they connected with everyone else except us. But when we look at what they're doing, their music is not free in Africa. It's fuckery.
I didn't know what to say.
Music need to free Africa. If I am all the way in Jamaica and my country and my people fight for free your continent with word, sound, and power, and you have the ability now, and all you're singing is fuckery, you don't sing a song to free Africa all now. We need them bringing this to the forefront of your mind, but we desire more from them. You want the money? Go get it. But what's going to be said about you later on and your posterity? You didn't make any impact. So reggae music still stands predominant. It is still the king's music.
Yes.
Well, shots fired. Girl, what you got to say about that?
I'm sorry. I hadn't heard that, so I had to laugh for a minute. Well, I have actually a lot of feelings surrounding that. But what I will say is I can't say that I find one lie in that. And I don't think it's just with music. I feel like today, what Afrobeats is something I feel like is all over the place. It's like it just encompasses everything. And like, who defined what was Afrobeats? Because it used to be very distinct music. You had High Life, you had Makossa, you had, all these different types of music. And today they just want everything to be Afrobeats, which kind of gets attributed to Nigeria. I remember the controversy between Afrobeats and Amapiano and stuff like that. So I think in that respect, it's a little complicated. But I believe in this particular instance, the interviewer was probably specifically referring to, the Nigerian Afrobeats music. And I have to agree with him. And like I said, and by extension, I think that even goes into other forms of media coming from Nigeria. I look at, but I think it's just an extension of a larger problem with what comes out of Nigeria in every aspect. Like the need to be, you know, the giant of Africa, even in terms of Burna Boy, you know, he's the giant of Africa and Afrobeats, this side or the other. And even recently I saw something in regards to the media only wants you to see this side of Nigeria. Nigeria's more. But the reality is that the wealth inequality there is insane, right? And it's all black. So we can't just keep saying that it's the colonizer when this is black people. So I feel like that's what Buju's saying. Today they have, what did he say? Words, sound, and power. Like you've got power at this point. Yet you're putting out fuckery. How do you explain that? And to me, it's explained as they don't care about the masses. And I don't think this is just a Nigerian thing. I think this is an African continent thing. You know, we can talk about colonizers. We can talk about colonization. We can talk about hippies even today, talking about all these different countries, whether it's, oh, pray for Congo, pray for Sudan, etc. The reality is, it's black people. And I think we as a people have to start holding the people in these countries more accountable, because you cannot just be so focused solely on getting money. Yes, we understand you got the right to get money, chase money, spray money, this, that, or the other. But if the masses have nothing, and when you talk about the level of poverty in Nigeria specifically, how can you be so proud to say you the giants of anything when the masses are in the state they are? And I feel like that's where Buju's coming from. Words, sound, power. You got to do something more to uplift the people. What say you?
Yeah, you know, I saw this and I mean, I felt the same. I was like, whoo, it was rough, but I mean, it wasn't no lies told. You know, the interesting thing is that, you know, I see a lot of what he's talking about, you know, happened in the US. You know, I'm originally from Detroit, Motown. I mean, we literally was home of Black American music. And over the past 20, 25 years, we have gone from, you know, just absolutely amazing music to absolute trash that basically is promoting degeneracy, you know, over sexualization of women, you know, promoting, you know, everything in life is about getting money and getting women and getting fancy cars and getting fancy houses. And the whole, you know, idea of, you know, revolution and fighting back against oppression that you saw in music, you know, whether it was from R&B, whether it was from hip hop, that is for the most part gone. And so, you know, that's something that I always enjoyed about reggae music. And, you know, way back when, I also enjoyed it about Afrobeats, because it wasn't, you know, all of this same kind of degeneracy. I mean, you could listen to it and actually really enjoy the beats, enjoy the music, and enjoy what people were talking about. And like I would say, you know, within the last, you know, 4 or 5 years, I've started to see the switch. You know, I remember how it was like such a big news when I believe it was T.Y. Savage and she got, you know, some, you know, big contract with, was it Sony Music? I forget which one of these, you know, major American music companies it was. But, you know, that was like this big celebration that she got, you know, this big contract. And the first thing I thought was, oh, goodness, here we go. They're about to destroy this genre of music too. And slowly but surely, you know, we're starting to, at least in my opinion, we're starting to see that happen, because you're starting to see things change. It's, you know, more and more of, you know, this, you know, let's get all the money, you know, let's get all these women. And I mean, let's be honest, Nigerians have a reputation for being showy and flashy. So, I think that was always there to some extent, but it just seems to me like it just has become obsessive, and you don't hear anything about, revolution. You don't hear anything about the problems that are going on the continent, and what needs to happen to solve them. So yeah, I think he was spot on.
It's interesting that you bring up that connection. I looked it up. She signed with Universal, and since I had been off social media for some time, I kind of missed that. But that explains why her music has become garbage to me. I remember one time it was a really big hit that was like global. What is it? Somebody's son or something to that nature. I forget. But when it came, I was like, this is really garbage. But everybody loved it. So it makes you wonder if it is the same MO where in the name of money, power, people want these record contracts, right? They get ordered into record contracts and modify what they put out. And then it becomes duplicated by everyone because they think that this is the only way to sign contracts. It's why we now have 5,000 mini Nicki Minaj type things, right? I am of the belief that there's room for everything. I'm like, you'll never hear me complain about what's his name? Tyler Perry. Because I believe that there's a place as long as you have the continuum. So if there was a continuum of music that was being played everywhere, then I don't think it would be such an issue. But when you start seeing this complete change is saturating an industry, you definitely have to see if it's something structural, system-wise in regards to this is how I make it. And you definitely see it, like in regards to the commercialism, the extreme glorifying women. I mean, I don't even touch on colorism, because the reality is that we're talking about African men who are often the color of night, but when you look at the women in their videos, I can't even say they going with light with African women anymore. They literally are bringing in people from other places for video, I don't think it's a coincidence, and I do think that the term that Buju used, fuckery, is appropriate. Like it definitely is. And now that you bring up the record label part, I think it's some of it. But I don't think it's just with music. I also think it's with film. Like I remember, because I went to the continent close to 20 years, particularly to Nigerian things, and I was always into Nigeria film, music, arts. And what I loved about Nollywood was that it was distinctively Nigerian, or even Kanowood. Like it was them, true to their culture, true to their belief system, et cetera, throughout the continent. Like if you watch the ones from North Africa, you saw more of the Hausa influence. If you watch the ones from Nollywood, you saw a combination of the Yoruba type thing. And then I would say probably maybe more than 10, but like hyperspeed in the last 5-6 years, you've seen a change to where even the films, they're just almost cookie cutters of American films. And everyone's on this warp speed to see who can be the most American in the film. And it's losing the context of authentically Nigerian. And I think a lot of it has to do with the Netflix contracts and things. People believe that's the way to, become famous. I mean, I see it even here in South Africa, sadly. I mean, although I would say this, that in general, South Africa has struggled in regards to finding their own true voice in terms of film and series. And for better or worse, I think because they've always had more similarities to us, I think they've always strived to be more like the American model, regardless of race. This is not a Black South African or whatever type, regardless of race. So they didn't have that distinctly South African voice in their movies and film, right? But now you're starting to see more South Africans going like getting global recognition for their work through Netflix. But even when you see it, it doesn't have that distinctly South African feel. It does like even what's the big popular one? Blood and Water, I think it was, right? It was so popular globally. Like I think it was like trending as like number 1 or 2 in Netflix and things like that. But when I was like put off by it. I was like, it's showing you that yes, there's money. You know, I think that's the big push now to show that everyone Africa's not poor, yada yada yada. So it was showing you that like the excessive wealth that can be here in South Africa, right? But it didn't feel like a South African production. And then I won't even get on the fact of the excessive the sex sales in regards to African music and music videos and film today. So again, I will Buju. It is definitely falling into that you know what category.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no denying it. I mean, the change is so obvious. Like for me, like one of my favorite songs from Wizkid is Ujelagba. And it basically is talking about the struggles of the everyday Nigerian. I mean, it just, really brings home what it means to be, a Nigerian who may be living in poverty and who, just has the strong desire, for their country to be better, for their people to be doing better. And you just don't see that as much anymore. I mean, I don't at all profess to know every Afrobeat song that's out there, but I just, feel like just the whole vibe of it has really changed so much. And I'm really seeing more of, this whole, like you said, glorifying women, glorifying, money. And like, those are the most important things in the world. And I think that that's exactly what Buju was touching upon, is that, that has become the focus and not. And I mean, as we all know, yes, there are some people here on the continent who are doing very well. They're wealthy. So this place is certainly not all about poverty. But the reality is that the masses are poor. There is extreme poverty. I mean, a level that the average person can't even comprehend. And I feel like that gets lost when all of these images, whether it's through music, whether it's through film, are being put out that, everything is kosher, everything in Africa is beautiful, everybody's, doing well. We got money up the wazoo. So yeah, and I mean, I won't even go into, the whole idea that Buju talked about, because I mean, to some extent, it seems to me like he was also trying to say that reggae music has been colonized by, some of these Africans, because essentially what he said is that you all have not really connected with us. You basically have kind of taken over our art form and tried to X us out of it. So that's a whole nother issue too.
Well, I will say this. Because I'm an island girl at heart, small island that. So I was soca baby, and this has been actually a topic of discussion the last year or so in carnival circles, because before, anyone who follows carnivals knows that even dance hall and Aggie are not big during carnival. Carnival is a time for more small island like soca, bouillon, stuff like that. You wouldn't even really hear, the dance hall, because if you listen to the different islands, you realize that soca and bouillon, I'm not a music pro, but I feel music, and the beat that those are, the tempo that soca and bouillon are on, it's a different tempo, and it does something to you, right? Like, you can't be angry and want to fight and things when listening to this. It's just an amazing experience to be in carnival and whatnot. So you know, the Notting Hill Carnival in the UK is slightly different in the sense that it's become more of a, in fact, this year girls turned into a whole another headache, but it became more of like a cult, leading more to a cultural festival. And per usual, the certain people from the continent who's come from a country that starts with N likes to take over people's, you know, stuff, right? And so they started demanding for Afrobeat music to be played because, you know, that's what's trending and that's what's popular. So people basically were like, no, this is soca music. Soca music, and maybe some Ouyan, etc. And of course, they started with the, oh, you guys are just anti-African, you don't, because this, that, and the other, because the context was not there, the historical context. Because it's one thing, people just start seeing Carnival like a big party, but there is a historical aspect to where Carnival was in the Caribbean. And if that's not your culture, you might not know it because you're not going to research it. You live there for the party. And it became a huge thing where they were trying to take over the Carnival scene. It was like, no, demanding that Afrobeats is played because we're all Black. You know, that's what we were talking about a few weeks ago. We're all Black because it's all the same. It's like, no, it's not. We may be like, but ethnically we are different and we need to respect that. So I can't say with 100% certainty that that's happening. But like you told me, so can Black people be colonizers? I believe they can, but everyone might not see it that way. But I definitely think that sometimes people like to throw around we're all the same when it's convenient for them. But when it's time for them to start, you know, putting something out in regards to something that was not distinctively theirs, then it's, oh, I need to be more protectionist. So it's like, on one hand, Buju saying like they didn't respect us, they didn't come and see us, but they want to put out our music. Then on the other hand, they like to also say, we all the same. So if we all the same, it shouldn't be a big deal. And Burner, if any of the Afrobeat artists want to take over dance hall and reggae, right? I mean, because we are the same, right? I mean, I don't believe that, but I do know that people from Jamaica, people from Jamaica will often say this. And I think this is an example and a time for us to really start being honest with the realities in that we're not all the same. We may all have Black skin. We may all have been told that we are the same by an oppressor. But ethnically, we are different. Our histories are different. Our cultures are different. And to me, you need to respect the source. And Nigerians artists have had the same issue with Afrobeat. I mean, I'm sorry, but Amapiano down here in South Africa. It's called Amapiano, which is distinctly what? Uzulu. It is distinctly something that's from Southern Africa. Yet they've been trying to take over the origins of Amapiano, girl, to the point where someone actually went in and changed the Wikipedia page to say that the origins were Nigerian. So to me, this is a pattern of behavior of people from a certain place. And I've been saying this, as much as I love my people, this is why they have problems with so many people in the diasporas, that they believe that they are more intelligent and superior than other places, and that if they excel at something, right, that was historically someone else, they don't want to give that reference to the source. And I think that's important. Even if we all are Black, you still need to give reference to the source. And in regards to Burna Boy, I think it's a bigger issue, because I want to say maybe a month or so ago, there was an issue with him being disrespectful to one of the founding members of, was it Burning's Ear? I think it was at the festival, where he came with his huge entourage of people and demanding more dressing rooms and wanted to kick them out. Like, how do you even have the gall to be disrespectful to someone who's like your elder, who laid the groundwork for you guys to even get your foot into the door globally. I think that, this is a bigger issue, and hopefully, some of these Nigerian artists will come to their senses and start in respect, like the ones before them. But you know what? Now I think about it, it's not even just external, because I remember reading something recently in regards to the lack of respect shown by Burna Boy in regards to even Nigerian artists that came before him, like Wizkid, like DeVito. So maybe that's just him, maybe that's just, how old is he? Let me check. Is he, as they call him out here in South Africa, is he an AMA 2000? Is that the problem? Let me check.
He's 33. I just looked it up.
Okay, so, he's not an AMA 2000. So
old enough to know better. So yeah, I mean, you bring up good points. I mean, this whole idea of flat blackness, we're having the same issue that's going on in the United States, and I think it extends beyond music, film, and other things. And I mean, child, that's another issue that's hot on social media, and that's something we definitely are going to have to bring up in the near future. But yeah, I think that Buju was touching on some bigger issues here. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that we have become much more global than we ever have been, and we're having more contact with each other than what we ever have in the past. And for me, what it comes down to is a matter of respect. Respect that we all, quote unquote, are Black, in the sense that we have Black skin, and we're, originally our ancestors come from Africa, but at the same time, we've been scattered around the globe for centuries, and we have, created, new cultures, new music forms, new art forms, and they should be respected. We all can party, we can celebrate together and do all that. But at the end of the day, we need to respect each other's creations and do what we need to do to advance them, rather than, trying to steal and appropriate. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's the point that Buju was making. So anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today.
Yes, I think that's a good point to close. And it has been fun, catching up and talking on some of these topics. And I look forward to our next tea. Like, what shall we talk about next time? I think it's going to be a surprise. I don't know. Because every time we try to plan what we're going to talk about, something hit the fan. And we'll be like, oh, girl, no, we need to talk about that. So, but we will see you, and we are going to make an effort to see you more often so we can start talking on some of these topics that come up, whether it's living here and things you might experience, traveling here, things you might encounter in the even travel and African tourism space. The list goes on. So we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the African Tea. Remember, if you like it, click like, subscribe, share. Hell, even if you didn't like it, share it and talk about us. We don't care. Whatever you need to do, but like, share, subscribe. Have a good one.
Bye. See you next time.